Good morning. It is day 18. I know, kind of crazy we've made it this far, but today will be short and sweet. I know I say that all the time, and it doesn't really mean anything because then I end up rambling, but I think today will be pretty short and sweet. So, what I wanted to talk about today is the idea of staying friends with people that are using, right? Like are using friends. When we get in, it's hard to determine, right? When we're in active addiction and when we are out there using, we become close with certain people, or maybe it's people that we were already close with in the beginning, and maybe it's our own family. Maybe the people that we use with that are continuing to use after us are people we can't get out of our lives or we refuse to get out of our lives, and that's okay, right? Like I know there's so many like big concepts and treatment programs that talk about like you got to cut everybody out of your life that's using. Well, what if that's not feasible? And why is that our decision to make? Yes, that is going to make your life easier. Avoidance is the easiest. If you can cut the people out of your life, that just makes it easier. You don't have to be around it. You don't have to work around it. You don't have to plan for it. You don't have to do all of these other things that go along with it. But as with everything in this world, and I can't stress this enough, like you make the decision. You decide who's in your life. You decide who's not going to be in your life. It's your choice. Only you can determine what relationships are of value to you and which ones are of importance. But I would challenge you to do just that and be honest with ourselves. I think sometimes we don't even want to think about certain things because it just makes us feel guilty to even think about, let alone have to face the reality of. So we just don't do it. But what I would challenge you to do is have that thought. I mean, if you want to write it out, fantastic, great. I love making my clients write it out because when it's laid out on paper there and you can just look at it and see it, it's just a lot more clear. But taking each relationship in mind and weighing it out. What are you getting from this relationship? And this is where the honesty piece comes in. Maybe you're not getting shit from this relationship. Maybe it's so you're not by yourself. Like maybe it's the person themselves. Maybe you feel obligated to. Maybe it is somebody that you're very close with and that's the only person you feel comfortable talking to. I don't know what the reasons is. Only you know what the reasons are. So thinking about it or writing it down, what am I getting out of this relationship? What am I not getting out of this relationship? What do I need to get out of this relationship? And really determining if this is somebody you want to keep in your life. And if it is, then it is. I mean, it's not good, it's not bad, it just might cause a little bit more work, right? So it is what it is. So here's what I would say. So we go through the list, we go through the inventory of the people in our lives in our head, we make the list of who's getting cut, who's staying in, who are we keeping, and why. And if we know why, like that feels pretty good, right? Then we know that there's a good positive relationship there for us. It's a support. So once we decide who we're keeping in our lives, if they are people who are still using, then we got to think about how we protect ourselves. What are we going to do to ensure that their using doesn't lead us back to using? And how we do that is with boundaries, right? Like you hear the word boundaries a bajillion times everywhere you go in the treatment field, but actually seeing them in place, what does that look like? So maybe telling your person that you can't be alone with them. Asking them, like, if this relationship is worth keeping, then they will have no problem not using in front of you, preferably not even being messed up in front of you, because seeing somebody else fucked up could be a trigger for you. You don't know. But really proceeding with caution. It's always better to start out more caution and give yourself more space from there. So maybe just meet for lunch in a public place, right? And take separate vehicles, go your separate ways, make sure that you're getting out of there as soon as it's done. And so you're getting to keep that relationship. Or maybe you only message each other through Messenger or text or whatever social platform you use. And maybe that's a healthier way that you guys can keep talking, or you talk on the phone, right? Like people still do that, I swear. I talk to my best friend for like hours at a time. It's crazy. But otherwise, I won't answer my phone. But having it that way where it's safe for you and it doesn't put your sobriety in jeopardy. You do not want to find yourself in a position where you're alone with this person and they're offering it to you. Even if they don't offer it to you, even if they're that good of a friend, you're going to have that temptation of asking for it. And if you ask for it, sure, they might buck back a little bit and be like, are you sure? Are you really sure? But they're not going to tell you no, because would you tell them no? They're not going to. So in order to make it the safest for you, having that plan in place, only meeting in a public place. Maybe you take your sponsor or somebody else sober with you when you go see them. Maybe it's in a public place. Maybe it's only over phone. Maybe it's only messages, things like that. However you need to do it. And if you find, that you're with them and you're feeling okay, and the more stronger you are in your recovery and sobriety, maybe the more you can open up those parameters, like alone at a park or something like that. But don't overdo it. We don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we're like, fuck, now what am I supposed to do? Because that's the hardest to get out of. So I guess moral of the story is evaluating who you want to keep in your life. And like I said, that's 100% up to you. Nobody else can decide that for you. You decide who's of value in your life and who you want to keep, but also making sure you're putting yourself first. All right, that's all I have for today. Have a great Thursday, I'm pretty sure it is. Bye.